Okay, so the first thing you want to do is head back to your com.moj folder. If you remember from last video that I posted, if you don't have the com.moj folder, you go to bedrockwiki.dev. I'll try to link it to the description. Last time YouTube didn't let me, but anyway, moving on. So once you're here, you're gonna go into your development behavior packs. You go into here, and then you should find your super tool. In my case, it's super tool. You're gonna click your behavior pack, and I want to go over some. We're gonna go over the custom. We're gonna go over some more components to your item. So after you've located, after you go into your first folder, then go into items. You'll see this JSON right here. This is like basically the item. This is the behavior of the item. So this has all the components. It stores basically the data of the item, the behavior side. The next thing you're going to want to do is boot up Visual Studio Code. I know most people use Bridge version 2 or some other software. I like to see the code for myself, so I use Visual Studio Code. And if you ever do any future coding, this is it's really useful. Lots of programmers use this. I highly recommend it. You can look up a tutorial on how to download it. It's completely free, if I remember right. All right, so the next thing, you're you want to drag and drop your development behavior packs folder. It's actually extremely simple. You just go into the .moj, locate your development behavior packs, and then just simply drag and drop it in. Super simple. Then you'll notice that you'll have this little workspace here in your Explorer. Find this is just my other pack. Just find the file you want, the pack you want to work in. I'm going to be working on the super tool, so you want to click that, and then go under items again. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is just click super tool. You just click it or drag and drop it, doesn't matter, whatever one works for you. Just drag it in. Either way works for you. All this is the behavior of the item. So this is telling the game what you want it to do and what its abilities are. So this is like a pickaxe, basically. It's item group name .pickaxe. I'm not going to go over custom categories in this video, but anyway, there's the format version. You do not really want to change this at all. Just leave it be, because this is how. The more up to date it is, the better it is. So just keep it whatever it is. If you made it to your tool in Blockbench, it's already going to have the correct format version. So you don't have to touch pretty much anything here. The components, which is right here, this is the behavior of the item completely. So this is what everything's going to be. As you can see, there's the identifier there. There's the components. There's this is where the texture of the item is. I don't know why it shows red there, but whatever. Also, another thing in Visual Studio Code, you can hover over something and it will tell you like a problem. I don't know why it says that. I'm just going to ignore it because it works just fine, and I know it does. Okay, so the next thing is that there is the damage. So you can change your damage here. There's digger. So this is basically for shovels, other tools, stuff that digs. And then there's destroy speeds. So 50 is the maximum you can do. It will, dig stuff. So, however, we're actually going to go over some more components. There's actually a lot of components you can have, such as if you want a full list, there's a really good place to get a full list. So the other thing you can do is boot up your web browser, and if I remember, I showed this off in last video, but if you saved it like I did, you can just click this up here or whatever web browser you're using. But otherwise, you can type in Bedrock wiki.dev. That is not how you spell dev. It bumped the B. But as you can see, it shows up right here. Introduction. You click that. I'm going to close this tab. So this is extremely useful. This isn't made by Mojang, but it's still extremely useful. There is another website that you can also go to as well if you don't want to use this one. This one's, in my opinion, a little bit more up to date, but basically you search in your web browser, you search up learn.microsoft.com, and it's this. So this basically, I found this to be way more up to date. I think there's a link to it somewhere in Blockbench after you make your item or something, or your entity. You can click that and it should take you to here. This is extremely useful. I've had a whole ton of stuff. It covers the latest up to date version of Minecraft. It covers creator tools. It basically covers a whole ton of different aspects to, add-on making. So this is extremely useful. But for today's video, I'm actually going to use the Bedrock wiki because I know where a lot of this stuff is. But so basically, what you can actually do is there's a little search bar up here. You can there's a bunch of different stuff I've actually searched up in the past. So we can search up item. But we can search up item components. Shows up right here. We click that, and it will take you straight to the item components section. So there's a whole list of them. I don't know if this has all of them. I know the Microsoft Learn one that I showed has, I believe, all of them, but it's a little hard to navigate to find where everything is. So that's why I like to prefer this, because this is a lot more organized in my opinion, and it's a lot easier to find stuff. So that's why I'm going to use this. So I'm going to go over most of them at least. So this there's applying components. So this is like a really good thing for learning tutorials and stuff. There's a list of components. There's allow offhand. So very important thing that I need to go over with allow offhand. So this does not mean you can use it like in Java Edition. This just allows it to be put in the offhand like a totem. It will not do anything. Unfortunately, no. It's basically practically useless. It just allows it to be put in the offhand. So yeah, there's that. There's a block placer. You can read about a bunch of these, but I'm just going to cover the more important ones, such as there is, I believe, one in here. There's also hover text. There's fuel. See, there's that. There's the glint. Hand equipped, the enchantable, entity placer, so those are all in Blockbench, right? There's the durability sensor, durability, display name, digger, the damage absorption, but as you can see here, there's a lot more than what's in Blockbench. If I just keep scrolling, this thing is extremely big. So there's rarity, projectile. So I want to cover this one. So let's say you're making a new projectile. First step would be to make your entity and then apply this component to an entity. I'm not going to cover that, but we're going to go over like item components and stuff. Well, so for this, you'd basically like an arrow, such as like an arrow, as you can probably see. Picture the item of an arrow. This small little bit of JSON here is basically telling, so the item, so this would be like the item projectile, so like the item arrow, the arrow in your item slot type. So then it's basically telling this is where your, this would be where the projectile entity would be. I'm not going to cover how to do that in this video though. And then there's the rarity. This I believe just got updated. As you can probably see, the Minecraft did a bunch of like rarity updates and stuff. Record, so this I believe to play in a jukebox. Yep. So there's that. There's a whole ton. I wanted to cover shooter. That is one of them I wanted to cover. So let's say you wanted to make like a new bow or some new thing that it allows to shoot. So so basically to do that, you would like this is exactly how you would do it right here. This entire, all the way from this curly bracket to up here, is everything you would do. So how you would like implement, I'm going to actually just copy this to show you. So how you'd implement this is actually extremely simple. But what you would do is, so let's say you wanted this code, right? You'd click copy. and then we'll copy it to your clipboard as it says copied. And then the next thing you want to do, and basically what you would want to do is you go back into VS Code, and to add a new component is actually extremely simple. So first you find, here's digger, so I'll just do this, and you find where the end of that component ends, which is right here. And then you would press enter, and then I would paste in that new component. But the most important thing in JSON, everything, if you notice, needs a comma after the end of it, like at the end of pretty much everything. See, comma there, comma there, comma there. Basically, if you're gonna put something after something, like if I got rid of that comma, it's not gonna like that. It's not gonna read anything below here. So what you need to do is after the end of your component, you put a comma, and that fixes it. As you can see now, it will read this. It will read all of this. So I'm not gonna, basically it takes, I'm not gonna go over all of them because that would take way too long. And this video is already getting a little long here. So as you can see, you have the item, which would be like you put your identifier of your item, like a Minecraft arrow, Minecraft dirt, redstone, whatever, and you put it here. And then it would search your inventory. So if you want it to search the inventory, which you want true, you want to use it in creative, which means it won't use any ammo for that. Or if you can't use it in creative or whatever, basically you can choose all this from right here. So it's really simple to. It's just really simple to do that. It's just really simple. So you can do all of that with just components. So that's some of the components. Some of the components. We'll go back to our Microsoft Edge, or we'll go back to our browser. All right, so we're back. So the second thing is throwable. So throwable basically just literally allows you to throw the item. So it's pretty self-explanatory. There's use animation. Basically, these are, built-in ones mainly. So you see, these are some of the examples. There's crossbow, camera, block, those, there's a lot of different components here. We're actually going near the end here. There's the wearable, use modifiers. Some things, I want to quick brush over this. Some things will require you to use the Minecraft use modifiers. Use modifiers. So you might have to copy and put this into, such as with the shooter component, it needs the use modifiers, for example. So you're going to want to put that into your JSON as well. But otherwise, I think that's like all the important ones. So if you want to learn more about each individual component of what I have described here, there's two options. Either you go to the Microsoft.learn, the Microsoft website I showed in the video, or you go to the Bedrock Wiki.dev. This has most of them. It doesn't have all of them, but it has most of them. But at least the most important ones, if I remember right. But there's also like runtime identifiers and stuff that allows it to do a lot of stuff. But otherwise, I think that is, I believe, the most important aspects. So if you need anything, and then of course, one other thing I do want to say real quick. I head back over to Visual Studio Code. If you want like more complicated stuff, you're actually going to need some scripting to do stuff that normally wouldn't be able to do with components. So stuff you can't do with components, you're going to have to do with script. This is basically the story. If it's not, the moral of everything is if it's not a built-in component, you're going to have to do it in script. This is also probably an important time to note. Sadly, on Bedrock Edition, you can't do everything. There's a huge amount of limitations that you can do, but it's still significant. They keep breaking new boundaries every update. They keep adding more. So I still really enjoy it. You can still do a lot. I built like a blasters mod. I'm gonna like work on future mods. I've built. You can now make custom biomes, like the start of custom biomes now. So things are definitely better than what they used to be in Bedrock add-on making. I really hope you guys. But that's pretty much everything important about item components. I hope I explained everything correctly, or you're answering most of your questions about item components, because these can be kind of confusing, especially with Moline queries. These are kind of odd and confusing, but I hope that helped.